Vaquer, I believe you saw. That is Jordynne Grace.
Uh-oh.
Vaquer went all in here.
All right, guys, we are going to talk about a great scenario that's going to come up with the NXT Women's title picture. We are going to get a triple threat coming up pretty soon, but let's check out the best scenario here at the Pink Square Circle. Hey, guys, we're here at the Pink Square Circle. We'll talk about how the triple threat will work for NXT Women's title. We are talking about Stephanie Vaquer defending her championship against Giulia and Jordynne Grace. So let's see what the best scenarios are. You guys get the likes as we come into the circle, and let's talk about it. Giulia, how could that be broken down into a potential one-on-one matches? But this is where WWE NXT is going with this. I want to see how is the best way to book this whole scenario here, because these are the three women of the women's division. Now, we know that first, when it first started, we had Giulia come on the scene first, then Stephanie, then Jordynne. Giulia was the NXT Women's Champion first. She lost the championship to Stephanie Vaquer, who is the current NXT Women's Champion. And Jordynne Grace has been fighting for the NXT Women's Championship, but she wants to go at it again. So we got to figure out how to book these three women together. What's the best situation to book all three of these women together? How are they going to do that? First, let's start off by saying, I would say that Jordynne Grace has been eyeing the NXT Women's Championship since she got here. Now, we know Jordynne was the TNA Knockouts champion last year. We know she has fought for the championship while she was a TNA once against Roxanne Perez, former NXT Women's Champion. And she also just recently fought for this title at NXT Stand and Deliver in a four-way match. My issue with Jordynne is Jordynne has not really built any feuds to fight for the championship again. And also with Jordynne, she has not held the NXT Women's Championship. So I think it's a little too premature to have her fight for this championship again. But that seems like that's where it's going. She's going to be a part of a triple threat. Now, since it's going to be a triple threat, the way I will book it, have it start off at the next PLE for NXT. That's going to be Battleground. Battleground this year is going to be in Tampa. We're going to have it in May, and it's going to be Memorial Day weekend. Now, if you guys don't know, last year, NXT Battleground always runs simultaneously with AEW's Double or Nothing. They tend to do that program a lot, and they're going to do it again this year. But if they really want to, up the ante and try to outshine AEW Double or Nothing, this is how you do it. You're going to have a triple threat match. You're going to have Stephanie defend the championship against both Giulia and Jordynne Grace. And we got size and power from Jordynne. We got good, strong style from Giulia. And, of course, Stephanie, a combination of both. She got low power and she got strong style as well. Now, the way I will book it is Stephanie is going to retain her championship, but have Jordynne Grace be pinned, so get her out of the mix. Now, another PLE I will have her defend later. It's going to be NXT Heatwave. I don't know if they're going to do it this year, but if they were to do it this year, normally Heatwave is in July. It's around the Money in the Bank time. Hopefully they do that. I know Worlds Collide is a little around Money in the Bank, so maybe Heatwave will be a little after July, maybe a TV special for CW. But the way I will book this here of NXT Heatwave, I would have Stephanie Vaquer defend the championship, this time one-on-one versus Giulia, because Giulia needs her proper one-on-one rematch. We know that Giulia was champion. She has not been the same since she lost the championship at Roadblock. And she's been out, and she's a heel now. So we get heel Giulia versus face Stephanie. And they're going to go into a good battle. And I could even see Giulia getting very, very close to defeating Stephanie Vaquer for this championship. It doesn't necessarily mean that Giulia has to win. Or it could be maybe a double submission. It could be a draw. But I would like to see a series of matches between these two. And that's how we'll book Heatwave. Either Stephanie barely beats Giulia, or Giulia somehow gets close. But now, like I said before, the feud will continue on between Giulia and Stephanie. These two are going to have a good feud going on. Now, it could be a few matches here and there. We could have some more PLEs. We could have some of these matches on a regular NXT episode, main eventing NXT. But it could be a good close near fall where Giulia gets close to win the championship, but she does not win, and Stephanie Vaquer narrowly defeats Giulia. And then Giulia's going to go off and continue to go off. Then it's going to get to the point where Giulia will have a stipulation of a last woman standing or a submission match, or it could be a cage match, whatever. And next thing you know, the tables could turn. And next thing you know, after that, we can have Giulia regaining the NXT Women's Championship, making Giulia a two-time NXT Women's Champion, which is a feat that very few women have done. With Roxanne Perez, Shayna Baszler, just to name a few. Not many women on that list for that. So that will really propel Giulia as a heel and a champion. And Stephanie will be a great challenger for that championship. Now, throughout the year of the NXT Women's title, I expect these two women to feud. After the whole triple threats over Jordynne Grace, most of these two will feud over these PLEs. You got NXT Worlds Collide, NXT Heatwave, NXT No Mercy, Battleground. Now, I could see Stephanie hold on to the championship maybe till late this fall or possibly sometime in the middle of the summer. She could possibly lose. Maybe Giulia does regain the championship. That could be a great scenario as well. But these two, for the most part, 2025, they will feud over the NXT Women's Championship. That's how I will book it. And like I said, it could be a good back and forth between these women. Like I said, Giulia could end up winning the championship again, getting close to winning and not winning it. But it's going to be a good thing because these women have history back to Stardom, and they have great chemistry as well. So we would like to see some of that rivalry that they had on the independent scene on NXT now. It's the perfect place to do it, especially before, they go to Raw or SmackDown. And it puts a lot of prestige, continue the prestige of the NXT Women's Championship. We know that the NXT Women's Championship already has lots of prestige. We go down the names of Bayley, Sasha Banks, Charlotte Flair, Shayna Baszler, Asuka, Roxanne Perez in recent memory, Mandy Rose, Raquel Rodriguez, Io Sky, and now Stephanie Vaquer, Giulia. The list goes on and on. So many great women that have been on NXT that are now on the main roster, or maybe not even with WWE anymore. They've had on to this prestigious championship, and all Giulia and Stephanie doing is putting more spark onto this championship, making it much more valuable on the whole show. So I think it's going to be a great feud. Now, after this feud is over the NXT Women's Championship, I do expect within the next 6 months to a year, I see Giulia and Stephanie Vaquer both getting called up to the main roster. Now, I don't know if both of them will get called up on the same show. It's going to be a switch. I could see Giulia going to Raw or SmackDown, or Stephanie going to Raw or SmackDown. But I do not see these women being on NXT much longer. It's a reason why both Giulia and Stephanie have won the championship within 2025 already. Giulia won in February, and we have Stephanie winning in she won at Roadblock, so I don't expect them to be having a long extended stay at NXT. It will be short, and these women are made for the main roster. We already see Stephanie Vaquer on the main roster. She had a one-on-one match against Io Sky. We seen Giulia interfere in that match on the main roster. So these women they're going to be main roster ready very, very soon. But before they do go to the main roster, they're going to have a great feud on NXT. Could even be legendary, go down to one of the best rivalries in NXT history of the women's division. I definitely can see that happening, but that's my opinion on that. That's how I will book it. You guys let me know what you think of that whole situation. And when it comes down to it, it started off with a triple threat, but it will become a one-on-one. But Jordynne Grace will be a great addition to a triple threat. Not taking nothing away from her. I say Jordynne Grace needs more time to develop before she goes to the main event of a challenge for the NXT Women's Championship. That's how I see it. It's just not her time yet. It's Giulia and Stephanie's. But that's how the triple threat would work for the NXT Women's Championship. That's how I will book it. You guys let me know, do you agree or disagree of how that book scenario will go when it comes to Stephanie Giulia and Jordynne Grace for the NXT Women's Championship. Check out content at Pink Square Circle, guys. Until then, I will see you guys later.